Hi there, this is Joe from ShopTo. I'm joined by Dan again.
Uh,
And we're going to review Heavy Rain as part of the Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls collection for PlayStation 4. We've already reviewed Beyond Two Souls, so we're going to link to that in our review. But here today we're just going to talk about Heavy Rain. And yeah, it's good. One thing I will say, right, about Heavy Rain, I've been playing upstairs on my PlayStation and the frame rate was atrocious. It was just dragging and dragging. I'm thinking, surely this must just be me. Surely something's went wrong. So I tried it downstairs and it was fine. So yeah, it was just me.
Because you were getting quite upset at one point because you couldn't believe how bad the frame rate was.
Oh,
It's
it
like
was
it never been this bad.
I mean, it
Because
was.
I reviewed the Beyond Two Souls, and I was like, oh, it was fine on my version. So
It was literally dragging on my PlayStation PlayStation upstairs. During one of the quick time sort of fights, it was just literally like slow motion.
I assume about just a funny install, maybe, or
Yeah, it must have just been a sort of funny batch or something.
weird.
But I put the same save file and I went downstairs. I put the save file to the PlayStation Cloud, went downstairs, tried it, fine, not an issue with it at all, which is brilliant because it's a brilliant game. So that's the one thing I'm really keen to say, that there's no issues with it. It's brilliant. I mean, I did think to me, it is a very slow starter. I mean, I reviewed it originally in 2010, so quite a few years ago now.
I mean, do you remember much of it from 6 years ago?
Yeah, but I remember bits and pieces, and when you're playing through it does come back to you, but it's still as brilliant a game now as it was then. Obviously the graphics have aged a little, although they've done a great job sort of updating them for this generation of consoles. They still feel a little dated, and in some ways the gameplay feels a little dated. I mean, especially at the start when you're sort of just wandering about and giving women showers and just wandering about looking for your kid in the supermarket or just getting dressed or whatever. It's a very, very slow starting game.
Well, that was my thoughts on Beyond Two Souls. Though it's not really a game as much as it's an interactive movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'd say that in my review actually, that it's more like an interactive movie and you've got these choices. But I mean, the fact that it starts so slowly, there is a good reason for that, because it gets you used to these controls and it gets you used to sort of decision making that you'll be having to make throughout the game, and then all of a sudden it just picks up and the story really starts to kick in, and it's just a brilliant game. I mean, I'm so glad they've brought it to PlayStation 4 because there's so many people who'd have missed out on it before.
Well, I've not played it, to be honest, still. So
it is a really good game. I mean, I'm sure there's so many people who'll play it at the start and think, what is this? What's this nonsense? But honestly,
this kind of game's more of a cup of coffee, sit down just in a chilled room and play it, is it?
yeah, and it's a sort of, I mean, as you know, my other half, she's not really a gamer, but I mean, it's the sort of game where someone who doesn't really like games will sit and watch and they'll sort of take their eyes off the screen because they're enjoying it so much. So yeah, it's good like that. And the controls can be frustrating. The fact that you push, I think it's R2 to walk, and the camera you change with L1, you just push it once and you'll get different angles. But a lot of the game's all about sort of quick time buttons and just doing the story and making your decisions and then sort of saying the things that you'd like to say. And it can be a bit frustrating because there's one point, one part of the controls is that you need to shake it up and down, which is obviously not a very normal thing to do now, is it? It was then, maybe.
If you think what was happening a few years ago, yeah, but now it doesn't happen at all, does it?
But now you're doing it, and it's like, oh God, I really don't like to be doing this. It's just like, Urgh. And it can get a bit annoying sometimes during the quick time events when you have to push all these buttons and hold them all at the same time. It's just got rot away or something, but. No, I mean, those sort of frustrations aside, the sort of what feels like sort of archaic style controls for a game these days is it's still a brilliant game. It's got a brilliant story and it's really fun to play. And the
I remember,
graphics do it
obviously,
good.
not having played it. I mean, it is a very dark and violent game, isn't it? It's certainly not for sort of certain ages.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does get a bit dark and violent at some points, and it's got quite an intense story as well. But without spoiling anything, because we don't like to do that, it's definitely one worth playing, I'd say. So yeah, go for
Cool.
it. So there we go. Thanks for joining us, first review. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.